informally, we're here. It's the Dream is Free podcast. We have a very special guest here. He's one of the 4 owners of Colony Grill, Ken Martin Jr.
My now business partners, but friends when we were kids. Paul Caniglio was at IBM at the time. My other partner, Chris Jury, basically just ending his National Hockey League career. Cody Lee had his own masonry business, which he had been doing basically since high school. We thought Colony, was local, sort of a cult following down in Stanford. It was kind of a hole in the wall. And we loved the pizza. We used to stop there on the way to sporting events or Yankee games. Liked the idea of Colony, thought we could do it, thought we could expand it. But I don't think we would have survived if not for everybody's contributions. And, it's been great.
I haven't done an intro in a long time like this, but I feel like it's necessary. We have a very special guest here, Ken Martin Jr., some people call him. He's one of the 4 owners of Colony Grill. And if you don't know what Colony Grill is, it's a pizza place, and I wouldn't even call it a pizza place. I'd call it a establishment, a restaurant in Connecticut that was started in Stanford and now has blossomed into Florida as well.
Yeah, we're in Florida, New York, Virginia, and Maryland.
New York, Virginia, and Maryland, which I did not know. It's awesome. How are you, Ken?
Doing great.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
No, thanks for coming. We met, 2.5 weeks now maybe, at the Colony 5K, which was the 12th annual. And you were very nice. Your father introduced us. He's very nice. And we asked you right there, hey, would you want to come on our show? You said, yeah. And here we are. And I'm just super excited to have you here because you're an entrepreneur and one of your businesses is pizza.
We love pizza.
We love pizza.
Love pizza.
You have no idea.
Yeah, I love pizza too.
Yeah.
And, I'm happy to hear you say that. And I just want to say, thanks so much for being at the race. That's a big deal for us every year. We raise a lot of money for first responders and people that serve in uniform at home and abroad. And to have you guys there, not only just your presence and your personalities, which are great. It was really nice to meet you guys. But just your technical presence that day to create some great content and just bring a lot of value to the race in terms of what people were seeing. It was really excellent, and everybody at Colony was very appreciative. So
cool, thanks. We appreciate that, and we can't wait to come back next year.
Yeah,
it's gonna be great.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I'm not even thinking about yet. We always joke that the best day of the year is the day after the race because it's as you know, it's a lot of work to do these things. But
I could imagine.
But it's a great day. The sun was shining and people are having a great time, and you're a great presence there. So
thank you.
Appreciate
I
it.
really appreciate that because it's always good to be appreciated.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean. So thank you so much. You mentioned you're from Trumbull,
yes,
originally, and I heard from a birdie. And I'm sure you know who that is, that you were a part of a cool baseball team back then.
Yes.
Right? Do you want to talk about that a little?
Yeah, I love talking about it. Nobody remembers that far back these days, but my now business partners, but friends when we were kids, we all played on a Little League team together from Trumbull. That was a really good team, and we ended up going to the Little League World Series in Williamsport, Pennsylvania, made it all the way to the finals, and ended up beating Chinese Taipei, Taiwan, for the World Championship. And at that time, teams from America were kind of getting beat up by these teams from Asia. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we were the first team in a while to do it. So it was 1989, black and white television and wooden bats, but it was a great experience for 12-year-olds, and we had so much fun together.
Yeah,
we got to go to the the World Series that year. We went to the White House. We
cool.
Did a million different things that for 12-year-olds it was kind of a crazy experience, but. Yeah, now we're all 100 pounds heavier, and
2 feet
eating
taller.
too much pizza and too much beer. But it's a great bunch of guys. We still have a really close bond, and now 3 of them were my business partners, and we have been close since we were essentially 6 years old. And then you get into business together, and the friendship part is easy, but then you have to learn to be business partners, and that took us about 3 years. and then you kind of sort out, how everybody acts and everybody's, how everybody's personality traits. And, but it's great. Thankfully it's 14 years later since we started talking about Colony, and it became a business, and we thought we'd do one, and now we have 9 locations, but we're still friends, thankfully. And, and we've been good partners as well. So it's been a good ride.
That's pretty crazy. What position did you play?
Oh, great question.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I was this size when I was 12. So
I bet. Your dad was probably like, I got a major league.
Yeah, I know. It was all downhill from there. I couldn't hit a slider, but so I was almost 6 feet tall, and I played first base, and I was one of the hitters on the team. But we had a great team. There was a lot of good players.
I played catcher. I always joke they called me Jorge Posada.
Nobody called him that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or Jorge Piazza. I'm sorry, Jorge Piazza. But I love baseball. It's actually funny. We have a sports show that goes Monday through Friday and every other Sunday at Horseshoe Cafe. Shout out Horseshoe Cafe. We love them so much. Can't stress that enough. But that show has actually brought me back into baseball. I was out. Brian will love to hear this when he watches this. He's the host of that show. And his love for the New York Yankees and Tony's love for the New York Mets and their appreciation for the game itself has brought me back because you know how it is. It's a tough sport if you've never played to really, I don't know, be in love with it, you know? And it took me some time to get back, but it's pretty cool. That's awesome that you played first. Tough position. It really is, but not for you.
No, I mean, I think first base is a bit underrated position. You know, like there's guys. Well, you mentioned the Yankees and Mets, so like Don Mattingly or Keith Hernandez. Those are guys I watched and you know, tried to emulate when I was younger. But no, it was great. I played baseball into college, and you know, I don't really remember that much about the playing, but I have so many now friends and you know, relationships from it. It was pretty great.
Sports is the best for all that jazz. Like I'm a team sport guy too. I played basketball. I played into college too, and like you said, I don't remember a lot of the playing. You know, whether it was because I didn't play a lot or whatever, but it was the team camaraderie and honestly learning how to follow too a leader on your team is one of the biggest lessons you could get in team sports as you're growing up and then becoming an adult. So you went to Trumbull High or St. Joe's?
Yeah, I went to St. Joe's.
St. Joe's.
Yeah, not Trumbull High.
Yeah. Sorry, I mean
Crosstown rival.
Yeah, you gotta ask.
Yeah.
No,
by the way,
That's
we
a big
just
deal.
beat them on Thanksgiving Day. I don't, might as well mention it since we're on
for
here.
football. You're saying
For football, yeah.
I'm taking off my hoodie.
It's hot in here, isn't it?
It is hot.
It is very warm in here.
And I did it on purpose. So I did my downtime TV hoodie, right, and then underneath.
This is how you get the ratings.
Yeah.
He starts taking off piece
And
by
then
piece.
this,
Yeah.
I did my V friends. I don't know if you know who Gary V is.
Oh no.
Gary Vaynerchuk. He's a entrepreneur, like yourself, and he's really cool because he motivates all ages. He's a big believer in it's never too late, and he's done a lot of stuff. But one of his companies is V Friends, and it's basically Pokemon meets Sesame Street. It's trade carding, it's NFT, and it's short cartoon films for kids. Like, for example, this character is authentic Anaconda. So there's all these, motivational type of themes behind
Like gratitude gorilla, stuff
Very
like
cool.
that. Yeah.
So it's very cool. We love the whole helping the next generation thing. We're huge on that. Gary V is definitely huge on that. So
Is he the fellow who has the wine business?
Yes.
Yeah, I do
that
know
is
Gary.
correct. Yeah, very high pitched voice.
We love him. He's great, but he definitely is a lot. Like when he does his live streams, it's no awareness of
the camera.
The camera's
Yeah.
right
He's
here.
like talking.
All right, guys, and he's like on Instagram Live while they're streaming live on YouTube. And it's like, but he's
so
great.
funny.
But as you can see, I support him and what they're doing over there at V Friends. But yeah, so you went to St. Joe's, you played baseball there, obviously, and then you said you played baseball in college too.
Yeah, a little bit of baseball in college at Providence College. I was not, I was sort of recognizing that I was going to make a living in some other way besides baseball.
Yeah.
But I had a good experience. When I was at Providence College, they lost the baseball team to Title IX cuts. So a lot of my roommates either transferred or went into the draft.
Yeah.
And, it was tough. But no, Providence was great. And, I was trying to work towards a media career at that point, and I was able to work on the school newspaper and the local television, the Channel 4 affiliate in Providence. And then I was taking the train down to New York. And
Cool.
as I'm sure you guys know, like you just need to keep putting things in your toolbox to kind of understand the business. But no, Providence was a great experience, and it's a good town. It's a different town than it was when I was in college. Now they've done a lot of development and other things. But yeah, so. It's hard for me to even remember back now to the college days. I feel like I'm getting old here. But
after you graduated, was it straight into the workforce? Where did you?
Yeah, I graduated. I was fingers crossed. I was hoping that the diploma would actually be there on graduation day. It was like, it's touch and go there for a while.
Yeah.
But then I think I graduated on Saturday or Sunday and started working on Monday at actually a local newspaper in Norwalk, Connecticut.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
I had interviewed at NBC Sports and didn't think I was going to get it, so I took this job.
In Stanford, NBC, or New York, whatever?
It was still at Rockefeller Plaza at that
Okay,
point.
Cool.
It hadn't gone to Stanford, Connecticut yet.
Mm-hmm.
But a week into the job, the fellow who I interviewed with called me back and said, "Hey, we'd like to hire you." And I was like, "Oh, I can't believe it." And it was an experience I couldn't pass up. It was for the Olympics division. So really, my job with a couple other young people was to travel the world, interviewing athletes and people from Olympic committees, and really to watch sports and being immersed in that culture. And the Olympic movement is just a really cool thing, because it's, with all the stuff that goes on in the world, as we can see if we turn on the news these days, it's 2 weeks where everything stops and people from all different nations are literally living together in a village and competing against each other. So I think the Olympic movement is incredible. But so I did that. I bounced around a little bit with, I worked at the New York Times for a while and did some freelance work, and I ended up doing some more Olympics as a freelancer, but came to a point in my life where I just wanted to do something more entrepreneurial. And fortunately, timing and luck and having some partners that are also, smart and offer a wide range of talents, just sort of worked out. And oddly enough, we mentioned the Little League, but we were together for a 20th Little League reunion in Fairfield, and we were hooting it up, and we all said, "Hey, we should do something together." And that's sort of the birth of the Colony Grill idea.
And why did you guys go with Colony?
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, I think we love the simplicity of it. We didn't think we were smart enough to do, something
a bigger menu.
Yeah, we didn't want to do like a national franchise, because we just didn't think that was authentic enough. We wanted something that had a bit of soul to it. We thought Colony, was local, sort of a cult following down in Stanford. It was kind of a hole in the wall. And we loved the pizza. We used to stop there on the way to sporting events or Yankee games. And at that, I kind of grew up in the restaurant business. So my mom's side of the family had restaurants and an inn in Newtown, Connecticut.
Oh, cool.
So, kind of in my blood. I did that as a kid, for a few extra bucks. And so, liked the idea of Colony, thought we could do it, thought we could expand it, kind of make, Colony started in 1935. So we just wanted to, give it a treatment that, what would Colony be in 2010 when we opened? So, and it's been great.
No, yeah, I freaking love it. Was it always just pizza?
No, good question. So it's Colony Grill. So, it just makes you think, well, what do you use the grill for? Because now we're pizza only. It's a bit counterintuitive. But way back when it opened, it was, sandwiches, salads, all different items. And it was an Irish immigrant neighborhood in Stanford, literally called the Colony.
Yeah.
So
no, my stepfather is Irish Catholic American and grew up in that neighborhood. Literally, always talked about it. Obviously he had his own pizza place, so we had his pizza. But yeah, literally, that's crazy. But continue. I'm sorry.
No. My dad grew up in Stanford as well, in Chopin, and there's a clover on our sign. It's grill. It's Irish roots. It's like, what do you mean pizza? But when people started coming back from World War II, there was a heavy influence. Eastern European, Italian. They started tinkering with these pizzas in the kitchen, just as like another option. And they also wanted to figure out something that would fit on the bar top. So they wanted to do a one-size pizza. It was 12 inches in diameter. It can easily fit on the bar top. Light sauce, light cheese, so you can kind of handle it with a drink. And as the years went on, this pizza, that, like in this Irish place, became more and more popular. And by, I guess, late 70s, early 80s, there was nothing else on the menu at that point.
Wow.
But the grill in the name, remains, and the clover's still there, and as a, homage to the Colony neighborhood.
When you guys took it over, was it the same owner, same family, or had it switched over?
Since 1935, there had been a couple of different owners, all Irish, immigrants essentially. And when we took it over, it was from an Irish family that had been there for a number of decades. So James Bohannon, who was a larger-in-life figure in Stanford, knew everybody. He would be walking around the restaurant. He passed away in the 90s, but we basically acquired it from his family. So cool. It was not one owner, but he was the primary owner for a number of years.
So who initiated, you guys doing this? Was it just like a that talk on the 20th, or was it someone come up and be like, hey?
Yeah, I wrote a letter to I wrote a letter to James Bohannon because he was the person of record. But at the time, I didn't know it at the time, but he had passed away. So his sons received the letter. I didn't know if they'd ever respond or not, but they got back to us in about a couple, 3 weeks and said, hey, why don't you come in for a meeting? And I think it was just timing. But it's funny, like, I had a background in media. I was a decent writer. And you just never know how things like, interplay in your life.
Yeah.
The different skill sets you use
Right,
in
like
different areas.
that. What you wrote compelled him to be like, "Hey,
Yeah.
I want to see you." We actually know someone who recently just lost a deal because of his personality not shining and him doing. I won't mention names, but you know who I'm talking about, and that seems like sort of the same thing, but the opposite. You shining through and landing that deal, which is crazy because now look at you guys. I don't know how many years later. 14, you said.
Yeah, just about 14.
Like it's crazy. I mean, hole in the wall place to now 4 different states, or is it 5? I'm sorry.
1, 2, 3, 5.
Yeah, so 5 different states. That's insane. And it's just pizza. You know what I mean? It really is just pizza. And I know the salad pizza was added later, but still, I mean, it's genius. It really is genius because my stepfather always used to say and his was a takeout place, so he made good money. Like he just was done. That's why he stopped and sold it. He's just tired of it. But he always used to say when he, 2017, you guys were already, he's like, I would do, if I did it all over again, it'd be just like that. Forget the lasagnas, forget the calzones, forget this. Like I'm throwing it out most of the nights, so it really is a smart business plan. And do you guys always want to say, hey, we're going to keep it like this? Maybe we'll add something here and there, or always going to be like that?
Yeah, we wanted to keep it pizza only. And we've gotten a lot of pushback that over the years, when we moved into different markets, it's like, oh, you're never going to survive. You have to have wings, you have to have, whatever it is.
Oh, wow.
We understand it. Like,
yeah, that's a combo. The pizza wings.
Yeah,
combo.
I mean, a true salad and pizza. I mean, people they're like, oh, we don't want the salad pizza. We just want, a bowl of salad. But we've remained, kind of stuck to our guns on it. I'm sure it probably annoys some people, but I think we kind of are who we are. And people say, "Oh, it's just pizza. How can you do that? How dare you?" But you go to McDonald's, you're really just going to get a cheeseburger. I know there's other things on the menu, but you kind of go into a burger place, you're kind of going to a specific food place,
right?
So we probably, we double down on that a little bit, but it's beer and pizza, but. We think our pizza's great. It's unique style. There's a million. I'm sure we'll talk about different styles of pizza because there's so many good ones, especially this part of the country.
There are. We're blessed for sure.
Yeah,
we
absolutely.
really are.
But I think for us, it's like, whatever the food item is, you're really just selling memories and experience. So I think that's where we hope to differentiate ourselves. How we're interacting with people. Are they choosing us to come in at this time of year, the holidays, to be with their family, or the kids are home from college, or fortunately after a funeral or, maybe birthday parties, whatever it is. I think what differentiates us is making people feel a certain way, and we happen to do it with beer and pizza, but I think it could be any product. And I think that's what separates, good companies from other companies.
It definitely starts from the top. Like I feel like a broken record in front of them, these two especially, but I worked in the restaurant industry. I know exactly if the ownership is trash, your GM's trash, your AGM's trash, your chef, your cook, your dishwasher, your server, and then your bartender. Everybody hates their life. It all sucks. And as an owner, you can't leave your business alone at all. You know what I mean? Because people are pouring too much alcohol, this, that, and the third.
Showing up late, not caring, whatever.
We went to a place. And I forgot where it was right now. He's going to know exactly what I'm talking about. Oh, yeah. It popped into my head. It was last week.
Pastries?
And you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. This bartender is all frazzled. The place is empty. It seems like there's confusion on no hostess in this place. And we finally get sat at the bar, and this person's going around sweating like a pig, by the way. A lot of this with he'll tell you from like the rest, but basically they were telling us that they didn't have enough time to make themselves a drink before the shift started.
Yeah.
And they usually make an espresso martini
Yeah,
before the
oh
shift
my
to start their
goodness.
day.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
that's
like-
that's not going to work out.
How do you know I'm not bar rescue up in here?
Yeah.
Coming to lay the hammer
Yeah.
on you right now. Like I could have been just hired by
Right.
the owner of this restaurant, and it's just crazy. Like people, it's always a tell. And we're the type of people who are going to be nice and
Right.
really respectful, but we're not coming back. You know what I mean? We're just not.
Especially for around here too. There's a million different restaurants I can go to
A million.
that are great, that have great service.
And we
And it's
we
I
do
understand.
it.
Yeah, exactly. We this was a new place. It was our first time in there. Well, at least mine. I don't know if you've been there.
I was there when it
Yeah.
like first kind of opened.
Yeah.
It's in Fairfield. You know, you definitely. If we would tell you off air. Well, no, I
Yeah.
don't want to bash their business
Right.
or whatever, but you would know who they are. And I was telling them like they're not going to be here much longer. There's no way.
But clearly, yeah, like Mike was saying, like their management is just not there. Like this guy was alone in this restaurant, clearly like trying to like get the like be a waiter, be a hostess, be a bartender. It just and
Yeah.
obviously now your product is suffering.
Yeah.
because he's not in his right mind.
Yeah.
you know.
Literally not in his right mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not good for business.
No,
Yeah,
no,
it's crazy.
Terrible.
So, and I worked at a place that was
Right.
like that. You know, they promised the GMs this, the owners, you know, this, that, and the third. And then when that time came and there's no deliverables from ownership, GM's out. Start over, new system, and it's just like it's so crazy. It's like,
And then we just went to Little Goose.
yeah. Have you ever
yeah.
been a Little Goose?
Yes.
love that
I
place.
love that
Good
spot.
They take care. Like I've had my last 8 birthdays there. I swear to God, because they just are just the best. Same servers,
Yeah.
same bartenders work there. I see on their Facebook page the owner. She's very sweet. She's always in the trenches there. By the way, you don't even know she owns it if you don't
Right.
know. And she takes them out for day trips, weekend trips as a staff. Closes the restaurant. I love that stuff. Like that's how you build culture. That's we were on the train to New York City for
For your birthday.
For my birthday,
Yeah.
actually, it was a special day. They
Yeah.
surprised me, and
We met a lovely couple on the train.
A very nice, lovely
Yeah.
couple, older couple, and they told us about culture and businesses, and the only way you're going to
Yeah.
succeed is you can make
Yeah.
this, you can make that, but it's culture.
Yeah.
Culture is what's going to keep you going. So it's dope. You guys
That's
seem to have a great culture.
interlude here, but did you guys I know you said you had background in the restaurant industry. Did all the other team members who own Colony together also have that background? Like, how did you guys kind of navigate building a business?
Yeah, it's a good question.
Business.
I think, I had the most restaurant experience, but I don't think we would have survived if not for everybody's contributions. I mean, one of my partners, Paul Caniglio, was at IBM at the time, and he was, had a finance background. My other partner, Chris Drury, was just ending his National Hockey League career. He was the captain of the New York Rangers at the time.
Tony, I can't. Tony just looked at me. He loves that so
yeah,
much.
that's so sick. Like that's awesome.
No, the IBM
yeah.
is what I like the most.
Yeah,
Yeah,
all
and
right,
then my other partner, Cody Lee, had his own masonry business, which he had
That's
been doing
awesome.
Cool.
basically since high school. And so there's construction components, there's marketing components there, there's public relations, there's nuts and bolts finance and accounting. I was probably more the hospitality end of it, and just how we're presenting ourselves to the public. But all those different things were invaluable. And one of the things we said from day one is we're not paying for bar seats here. This isn't like none of us drink at the restaurant. We'll occasionally bring our families in to have pizza and that kind of thing. But all the old tropes about restaurant, drugs, alcohol, sexual harassment going on. We wanted to avoid that. And I think we've done a really good job from day one of just setting that tone. I think people who work for us can expect a really just good, positive environment. We're busy, so fortunately that everybody's making some money, which helps.
Yep.
But I think our employees understand that we're going to do the right thing almost all the time. Not to say
Or
we
try
haven't-
to.
try to.
Wait,
And
there are
we've made
mistakes
plenty
yeah,
of mistakes,
exactly,
but we try to correct them really quickly.
Right.
But there's a million restaurants out there. You kind of described it. The bartenders having drinks. The food. You have to 86 everything off the menu because the food wasn't ordered the day before.
100%.
Bonus time comes for your manager and there's nothing. So I mean, we certainly don't do everything right all the time, but we just try to be a true business because again, there's a bar. It's got bottles of booze in it, right? There's pizza. So it's not, we're not running a hedge fund, but it's all money.
It's inventory.
Yeah, it's inventory.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. So we don't want to waste
You're
anything.
feeding mouths, like your families. You have families to account for. You know what I mean? Like your families, that's your staff. Like
Yeah,
it's
everybody's.
not just-
I mean, literally
not
everybody's
even just
family.
customers.
Yeah.
You know.
So I think that was really important to us, just, making it a true business, but also understanding that, you mentioned it for your birthday, you love going to Little Goose, and it's really just because you feel cared for, you feel like that they're going to do the right things for you. You feel like just
It's consistent.
it's fun, it's consistent. You leave with the kind of a smile on your face,
Yep.
and like, I can't wait to go back.
Yeah.
That's the idea. I mean, that's what we're trying to do every day, and they have a bigger menu than we do, but I think it's the same goal.
100%.
Yeah, I mean, you guys definitely kill it on the consistency part.
Yeah, and the feng shui of the restaurant, the
Yeah.
way it's designed is old school
yeah.
yet modern.
My kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
No,
It's
100%.
great, but like I literally never have had, and I've been there a ton now because.
And he'd tell you the truth about it.
Yeah, especially with pizza. I don't
Play games.
play games with pizza.
Staten
okay?
Island.
Yeah. So I grew up. Obviously eating great pizza, but I started going to Sacred Heart in 2013, and basically been around here ever since. Going to Colony, I've never had a poor experience there.
Oh, it's great to hear.
Yeah.
And thanks
Like
for the
food or
support.
service.
Appreciate
Yeah, it's
it.
great. Yeah.
The Sacred Heart kids and also the Fairfield U kids, they're great, especially when their parents are in town.
Yeah.
Oh,
They're,
yeah.
they're paying the bill.
Yeah,
I
so
know.
and they're getting a
So,
bunch
like,
more.
yeah.
pots.
Exactly.
Yeah, there's
Take
like
some
instead
home
of
back to
2,
the
you're getting
dorm.
4.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have yet to take my parents there, and I'm very nervous, honestly.
They were very
My mother
critical.
is even more critical
Okay.
of pizza and food.
Oh
so-
yeah, he
so
gets that
it's-
from her.
Or let us know when she's coming. So we
Yeah.
can-
Yeah.
we can roll out the red carpet.
She would love that.
She really would.
Oh my gosh. But yeah, I was gonna ask before, like in the early transition for all you, for you four, and I'm sure you can't speak directly for their experiences, but like you have an understanding. What was one of the biggest challenges early on in transitioning from all your careers to now having to, put some egos aside to come together to now be here 14 years later, still partners, you know what I mean? Still killing it.
Yeah, I think ego is a big word there. And I mean, for myself, I think we all 4 of us have big egos. We played sports, some at a very high level, very competitive people. We like what we like. We have strong feelings. I think we're all passionate. So I think we had to understand how to communicate with each other and to ultimately, hey, what's the best thing for the restaurant? Not what's,
What do I
who's
like?
going to take credit for this thing. And, there was a feeling out period there where we had to, compromise on some things, and there was fights. And then, time kind of mellows that a little bit, but also just learning each other in a business setting. Like, I may do something better than you, and you may do something better than me. And we had to
Figure out what those
understand.
were.
Yeah, understand everybody's skill sets and what's important to everybody. Some things aren't as important to me as they might be Paul or Chris or Cody. So like I'll let them have that. Maybe not initially. We had to learn to let each other have their thing that they excelled at. And again, I think I might have said it earlier, but I think it took us probably 3-4 years to really get into a
groove,
a comfort zone, a groove, and it's been great ever since. And I think that's just getting older, maturity. We all have kids. Your parents now, so
Perspectives change.
absolutely,
Yep.
absolutely.
I'm in a weird phase, and I'm at that age in my life where it's like I'll tell you how old I am, but I say I'm like, you're at an age where it's like once you get to a certain age, it's just all the same, right? You're like, I'm 105 basically, and I'm in a place where people are dying, things are changing in the core of life, but it's weird because like my neighborhood I grew up in, it looks exactly the same when you drive by, but Mr. Greenwood's not there,
Right.
and certain things like that. So I totally understand because like, talk to me 10 years ago, I'm a totally different in my headspace of certain things, like you said, like family now to me is everything. 10 years ago,
Yeah, different spot
it's
in
me
your life.
and my boys against the world type of thing. You know what I mean? But now it's like my family is like they're a part of my family. I've reconstructed the mind in that sense, but that's really cool and interesting because we're so close here. We're family here. There's others on Doubt Times team, and it's it's just I ask these questions. I love this show so much because I get to learn too. You know, it's a first grade course in business and entrepreneurship. I'm learning from you right now, so that's why I love it so much, and that's why I ask that questions because I make mistakes all the time, and like you said, you just try to limit them. And what seems to me with you is like your intentions are good, as long as your heart is in a good place, you're gonna make mistakes, but just keep going, kind of a thing, and get better. But it's interesting you say that. Like, it does take time to understand people. Like Tony came in here and didn't like doing talent stuff. I just think about that when you said that. And he's the best at talent. I mean, it's ridiculous. Like, I knew that, but it took him a sec, I think, to realize that. And once he was like, there's no one else that's going to be doing this. I have to just accept this. I'm going to be talent when we go out on vlogs. And it's like, Tony, can you go tell Tony? Because everybody likes Tony.
Can you go interview the owner of Colony? Sure.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's like
that's a tough assignment, bro.
I had to have a couple Guinness, and then I felt pretty good about it.
Yeah, definitely.
Exactly.
And a couple of slices.
But the breakfast pie, by the way, I tried it for the first time at the 5K.
Never had that.
Freaking
before.
delicious. Yeah, I never even thought to order it, honestly. And then
Huge
I was
breakfast
like,
sandwich guys, too.
Yeah, love breakfast, obviously.
Yeah.
As you know, Staten Island, bagels,
Yes, so good.
breakfast, sure. But to try the pizza, I thought it was really cool because I've never had breakfast pizza at all. That's not really. You don't find that.
Yeah, it's a little
places.
different. The reason we did that is because we used to open. We still do. We open on Memorial Day for the parade in Fairfield.
Oh,
so we were
cool.
opening up at like 8 o'clock in the morning. And the first year we did like donuts and coffee. And we're like, that's not really us.
Yeah.
So we started playing with this breakfast pizza, Bloody Marys, mimosas, and now it's
cool.
become like a bit of a tradition in Fairfield.
Cool.
So
You said Memorial Day?
check.
Tony is very good at drinking. I'll put it that way.
Professional.
Yes.
Yeah, no, I do
If
enjoy
like
it,
if I need to have like a time to drink, like like that, sometimes you need that.
Yeah.
Right. You can hit
He's
me
my
up.
guy.
Yeah.
All right. That's
Yeah.
good to know.
Yeah, check.
What,
And
what are you doing at 2 p.m.?
See, I forgot one day.
Don't ask me, honestly.
We got out of a show, and it's like noon. He's like, dude, God, I just want to have a Guinness right now.
Yeah, it was like a busy morning, early
Yeah.
morning shoot, like 7
just
a.m.
wants to stop
all
everything,
morning.
yeah.
It's like, all right, like we just did our shoot. Like it's time to kind of kick back.
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
No, I love it. Our thing is, play
Work
hard,
hard, play hard.
work hard. We work so hard in order to be able to play,
Yep.
like how we want to. We work even harder than that. So it's definitely, we deserve it. We earn it. Why don't you tell us some like highlights, I guess you could say, for you personally at Colony through these last 14 years, if you could reflect a little, on things. I won't say names, but I had an ex-girlfriend who worked at Colony, and I'll tell you off air. And but I really, one time I was when I was working in the industry, and I could name the place because I don't care if they go under, local beer bar and kitchen, horrible owners. And at the time I was working there, and she was like, "Hey, Colony, it's our event, party, holiday," and this was 2015 maybe, so I'm sure a lot has changed since then for you guys, and it's only grown. But I mean, Bartender of the Year awards, like that stuff. Like when I heard that, I was like, I wish I didn't know you, to her, and I was working there, and you didn't work there at the time, because I was in a horrible restaurant right down the street, literally 2 blocks, is the best place, basically, to work out if you're in the industry. Also, Mecha. We love Mecha Noodle Bar.
Yeah, I do too.
They're the best. They do so much for the community as well. We love Tony and Rich.
one of our clients.
One
too.
of our
And
clients
again,
as well.
Going back to having a good heart and good intentions.
Oh.
I mean, it makes it so easy to work for them
We
because they're
go-
just great people.
Yeah, above and
Yeah.
beyond for Mecha. Like, they want us to do this, and we're like here. Because we love, like, they're that good of people, and we see it every day, how they treat everybody. It's amazing.
And the consistency there with the food. Been there a ton. Always a great bowl of ramen. Never had an issue there.
Never, ever.
Love that.
I love
ridiculous.
that shrimp with the spicy side and the rice. That's my favorite thing. And
Oh, the General Tso's shrimp.
yeah,
That's
Yeah,
what
yeah.
I get
That's
every
his.
time.
Yeah,
That's the
Let's
best.
go. Yeah.
my son loves it too. It's like,
Yeah. It's
really-
just such
really
a good,
good.
meal. And it's like, if you're going out, you just don't want to get too full. That's the move, for
and
sure.
it's this, talked about consistency earlier. That's it's always the same. That's
Exactly.
a comfort for people too. I mean, the general public, the general public sees everything.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they see the consistency. They see the soul of a business if it's actual. You know, if it's
Oh,
a
yeah.
real,
100%.
if it's genuine. You know, so I think. You know, I'm sure like them, we've tried to do the same thing where it's, you know, you can't fake it. You know,
Yeah.
that's why, like, you know, we are who we are. We serve pizza and beer, and we try to be a great spot for people to just have a good experience and make memories, as I said. But yeah, I mean, you can't fool the public.
No.
You might maybe do it for, you know, a couple of weeks or something, but it's hard. But yeah, you mentioned like treating employees. The restaurant business is hard. Like the servers and bartenders are on their feet all night. They're running around. You know, you're smiling. You know, if you're doing it right, you're smiling for 8 hours at a time. So you know, you got to pick your spots where you can kind of treat them to a trip or to some prize or competition. Or we do a great end of year bash in January, February, actually at the Patterson Club in Fairfield, and it's, you know, it gets like 250 people and singing and dancing and just a great time. And there's awards and you know, they need that because it really is it's a grind, and you know, it's almost like media in some ways where it never stops. You know, like it's so
It really is.
they need
It's
to
the
take a
same
breath
thing.
once in a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, what made you guys do that? Like start doing the awards and all that jazz? Like what was that always a plan or just?
Yeah, I mean, we've pretty much done that from day one. I mean, the first year we were open, you know, you mentioned the New York Rangers before, and because we had an inn, our first Christmas party was a bus to Manhattan to watch the Rangers.
Oh, that's
Went
so
to a
cool.
great bar in the Upper East Side, and then went to the game and took a photo at center ice with a couple of the Rangers guys, and it was just, you know, it's just a memorable night. But I think from day one we knew, just instinctually, I think, or just as humans, you know, people need to be recognized. People need to have a good time once in a while. They need to let their hair down. They need to see that ownership cares. Are regular people for the most part.
Yeah.
You know, it's not rocket science. We
Right.
certainly didn't come up with the concept, but I think we've been good at doing it consistently for a number of years now. And you know, I think it pays off. And it's just not transactional. I think everybody we hire, we genuinely like, and we think are a big part of our company, and we got to treat them well.
That's awesome. And what is like when you're opening up a new spot, for example, let's say we're doing a new state right now, and what are like for your GM? Do you usually have someone in the system now that you're bigger that you're gonna put in there, or you're gonna
Yeah.
upgrade them basically?
Yeah, every market we've opened in, the general manager of that restaurant has come from Connecticut.
Cool.
And they've typically been with us for, you know, 5-10 years in that case. So it's people who say, hey, I'd like to get down to a warmer climate, or, you know, I'd like to see a different part of the country. And they've done well for us, you know, in another market. So we're, you know, it's mutually beneficial to have somebody, you know, who speaks the language and has been a big part of the company to go down to a new market and be an ambassador and be someone who's going to be a mouthpiece and make sure all those standards that you talked about earlier are being adhered to. And
In that state too, yeah.
yeah, exactly. Because the general manager, it's a big job. It's you know, you have to be an accountant, you have to be a, you know, purchasing agent, you have to be a human resources director in some ways.
Literally, no,
Yeah.
you do. You're
Yeah.
a therapist,
And you're
sometimes.
you're literally the ambassador for, you know, for that restaurant or for our business in some other locale. So it's hugely important. And so usually we have a general manager, assistant general manager, and 2 regular managers, plus a kitchen manager. So 5 managers in each
Per
location.
restaurant.
Yeah. And
That's awesome.
if we open a new market, we want at least 3 of those people to be longtime, you know, colony people, and usually 4, but you know, 3 at least.
Ideally 4, you know, you're hoping for 4, but you'll do 3 for that.
Yeah.
What was the first new market you went to?
Well, I mean, we started in Fairfield, and then like the first new market was Milford, which is only 15 miles up the road. But you know,
Yeah.
that's like, it's not a new market. But for us, it might as well have been a different world.
Yeah,
Because you're going into New Haven pizza country. You're literally going across
I
the
see what you're
the
saying.
Housatonic River, and it's really a different market. You got more Boston Red Sox fans up there. It's,
No, you're
it's
right.
like different sports
I
market.
didn't think about it like that.
But I know your question is like, what's the first? We went to Portchester in New York, which is actually very close to Stanford, so it wasn't like super far away.
But it's almost like Fairfield to Milford almost.
Yeah, exactly. It's actually shorter. It's
funny.
shorter. So, but then, you know, you're dealing with different regulatory issues. You're dealing with different laws. You know, there's different construction things to consider. I would say the first really new market outside of the Connecticut market was Arlington, Virginia.
Okay.
Wow.
And that's definitely.
Was that scary for you guys? Or was
Shoot,
there?
yeah, everyone's scary for me.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
like every day's
like,
scary
"All
for
right."
me. I'm like, every day I wake up, I wonder if people are going to still eat pizza. I'm like, all right, good. It's one more day there.
You definitely don't have to worry. It's definitely number one, pizza.
Yeah.
It has to be, at least to us.
I mean, I think for a lot of people it is.
Yeah.
I mean,
It has everything,
yeah.
and like there's so many styles.
And it's just so easy to get a pie. And,
We don't know how many times. I'm sorry about this, but like
Yeah,
we're
yeah.
here late night, and it's just like we have dinner here. We made at home.
yeah.
Like we took time to make
Like,
the dinners.
nice chicken, veggies, rice,
Seasoned,
whatever.
all the
yeah.
9.
Sounds incredible.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't.
It does. No. And then once you get to 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock here, it's like, should we just get a pie?
Yeah. Like,
And it's just like, yeah, I was thinking the same thing. It happens all the time, so you don't have to worry about that. But so yeah, you're scared every time.
Yeah, I'm sort of the pessimist in the group, I would say. I'm like the nervous
Right.
person.
which is nice to have sometimes. I mean,
Yeah.
again,
Yeah.
like, you know,
It's like Tony.
So
someone to be like, hey, like, just making sure you're thinking about this. Like, this is what could happen, sort of deal.
yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's important, and I have a lot of positive partners who counterbalance that. But
Which is great.
yeah,
Yeah.
and I think that's important to the business because I'm a bit of a skeptic, and I think you got to look at things from all sides sometimes, and I'm very protective of the brand and very protective of how we present ourselves. So we just try to keep it really simple and true to who we are.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think you need varying perspectives, and my partners are great. They're good guys, and so 2 of us work in the business day to day, and 2 are sort of more, I'd say, I wouldn't say silent partners, but not as much day to day.
Yeah.
But everybody collaborates, and we meet all the time, and it's good because there's so much. There really is a lot of brain power. Present self may be excluded, but a lot of brain power in the room, so it's helpful.
What?
It,
Oh, go ahead.
oh yeah, sorry.
No,
real
go
quick.
ahead.
From the start, obviously it's probably like being an entrepreneur, starting out like creating Colony to where it is now, right? It was a lot of work. Would you say my thought is in entrepreneurship it never ends, but would you say like at any point you're like, okay, things are easier? Or no?
Yeah, in some ways they get easier, some ways they get harder. It never ends. It's always like a different thing that you're worried about. I mean, we just had a pandemic, which
Right.
we didn't anticipate that coming.
Yeah.
We opened two restaurants during a pandemic, but
It's crazy.
yeah, I mean, I think the physical. I was working like on my feet, for the first year, 7 a.m. to whenever we closed every day, and I don't do that anymore. I don't think I could handle it anymore physically. I'm going to be 47. So that's when I say, like with bartenders and servers and our managers, it's a hard job. Like it's physically demanding.
It is.
So in that respect, it's gotten a little easier for me just because I have been fortunate enough to be able to work on the business and try to expand the business and be more of maybe a teacher or mentor in some ways. But so that's been good personally because I've also been able to have a family life. My wife and I have 5 kids.
Wow.
Whoa,
That's crazy
That's
and
so
awesome.
cool.
Yeah, and my partners all have multiple, kids. So, we wanted to, if we were going to expand, we had to do it where, we had people in place. We built a culture, people you can trust. And we also, use a lot of technology for our size company that I think is, it's expensive. It's time consuming to get it implemented. But then it's very much helped us, be able to have lives in some respects.
Yeah, I was
But,
going to say the balance.
Yeah.
Yeah, the balance of, raising a family, being a husband, being a son to your parents and all that, the stuff that comes with life, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's
Yeah,
awesome.
for sure. But so to answer your question, in some ways easier, but in some ways harder. And we have over 300 employees now,
Wow.
and with that comes a lot of different people you have to take care of and have different viewpoints on things and different needs, and juggling that isn't easy. And but we're blessed to have a lot of really smart, good people. We have a ton of people who are part-time, who are students, some of whom are going or have gone to Sacred Heart or Fairfield University, nursing students, teachers. They're amazing people. Like they're just very empathetic and understand people's needs, and that's right up our alley.
Yeah.
But like the last couple of years with the supply chain stuff and the pricing, that's been a real challenge because we want I mean, we're pizza and beer. How much are we going to raise our prices on people? You know, but it's, you know, it has gone up considerably to you know, to buy product and to get everything you need. So that's been a challenge. But I would say more positive than negative though over the 14 years. And you know, every day's, there can be headaches, but I would say predominantly we like, you know, we love what we have been doing, and you know, we're looking to do it for a long time. I have 5 kids, so they got to get them through college. So got to sell a lot of pizza.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
I kind of want to talk pizza
Yeah, go ahead.
because, you know, we were saying like, you know, all different styles and everything
Mm-hmm.
like that. So you said you want to talk styles of pizza.
Sure.
What's your favorite? You know, start off with that.
Yeah, it's tough to pinpoint a favorite. I mean, I grew up. Well, let me backtrack.
Okay.
People will try to cozy up to you online in reviews, like, oh, you know, Colony's my favorite, but the you know, Pepe's stinks or Sally's stinks. I'll never get into that debate because I think I love Pepe's, I love Sally's. I grew up on Pepe's. You know, I'd go drive with my family members. We'd go get it. Vinny's Pizza in Bridgeport. I grew up on that. There's a million great pizzas in this area. You know, New York City, New Jersey, Boston. I do love the bar style pizza, which is our thing. It's unique. It's sort of a niche, and it's gotten bigger in the last number of years. But it wasn't one of the big styles, I would say. You know, I grew up on like pizza my grandmother made in a pan, and she would cut it with like a scissors. And I still have the scissors hanging in one of our bars.
Wow.
But
That's so cool.
yeah, but almost like similar to like a Detroit style pizza, maybe not as thick. I'll literally I'll eat any pizza you put in front of me. Like, doesn't matter if it's frozen or like,
Yeah, same.
I love. So when people say, oh, it's the worst pizza in the world, like in reviews, I'll read other restaurants' reviews or our own. And I'm like, I mean, yeah, you could say you like it less than something, or maybe you don't, it's not as good as something else you like. But to say like, this pizza is the worst in the world, it's like, I don't know. It's hard for me to kind of understand that. But well done, medium, you know, pepperoni from Pepe's when I was a kid. I love that. I love the Colony hot oil with, you know, sausage. I think that's a classic pizza. The cheese pizza. Literally, I grew up on Vinny's, and even Mario the Baker, because I used to take my grandmother shopping when she was a kid. Well, I didn't take her. My mom took her. But we'd go over to Mario the Baker on Main Street in Bridgeport, which isn't too far from Sacred Heart.
Yep.
So, you know, I mean, almost any pizza. I love Zupardi's up in West Haven. There's Ernie's and sort of, I guess it's North Haven, East Haven. Trying to think of down the line.
You're very well versed.
Have you ever had Beverly's
Gotta be.
Bacon?
I love Beverly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Beverly's Bacon is our.
They've been there forever too.
Yeah.
It's been there forever. It's cool looking.
Yes, it's like you're going to the 80s when you walk in there.
Which gives character. I think.
Yes.
You know, you kind of sometimes taste is like who you're with or where you are. Like it increases the taste of something.
Oh yeah,
definitely,
definitely.
How
definitely.
hungry you are too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I like Greek pizza because of the cheese blend.
Yep.
It's almost like that. There's a pizza out in St. Louis. They called it the Provel mix of cheese. And so there's cheddar and there's mozzarella and there's provolone.
Cool.
So like it kind of reminded me a little of like a Greek mix almost.
Cool.
But yeah, I mean, if you put anything on bread and cook it with cheese and sauce, I mean, how bad really can it be?
I know.
Yeah.
It's really like ridiculous.
Yeah.
Did you guys have to like tweak any of the recipes from Colony when you got it? Like all the owners coming together, trying out different like cheeses or produce or anything like that?
Yeah, we've tweaked a few things over the years. Like one of the things we did, we went from canned mushrooms to fresh mushrooms pretty quickly.
My mom, you hear that?
Yeah.
That's her like shtick with restaurants. She's like, they don't wash the mushrooms. They're all from can.
Oh yeah,
Every single
that's
mushroom.
right. I forgot.
Yeah.
She hates that, so she's gonna love to hear. Now she's gonna get mushroom pies there.
So yeah, I mean, listen, everybody likes their own thing, but to me, that's like a no-brainer.
Yeah.
You know, we haven't done too much. I mean, like we've tweaked some flour over the
The
years.
hot oil. Was that with before?
Yeah, the hot oil has been around, but that's something that needs to be tweaked occasionally, just because peppers change seasonally. So the peppers we use in summertime compared to winter, you have to kind of play with the heat because some are riper than, you know, depending on time of year. You got to make sure the oil's right. You know, I would say there's some tweaks within the system, but nothing really like crazy that we've done. I mean, you know, we've played with some flours, we've played with some cheeses. I mean, the cheeses are basically the same kind of cheese, but where can you get it from? Where can you maybe get a price that's going to keep the price down for consumers without giving up quality?
Yeah.
But there was really, it's like an art and a science, right? I mean, you're kind of just making sure. Like when we went down to the warmer weather markets like Florida and even Virginia in the summertime, it's like we were like, how are we going to make sure there's no bubbles in the pizza, and how are we going to make sure like the consistency and the crunch and all that? And everybody's like, oh, it's the water, which,
right.
Which it kind of is.
Yeah.
I mean, but you can test the water, but you can make pizza with bottled water for the pH balance and the salinity. It ended up being like air conditioning that we were most concerned about, because the humidity in the restaurant. So we have so much air conditioning in our Florida restaurants.
Oh, I bet.
Just
It's
to make
probably
sure
gnarly.
that the humidity and then you're not getting bubbles in the crust.
Interesting.
Yeah, so our crust doesn't rise. Our crust doesn't rise like other Neapolitan style pizzas.
Right.
So making sure that the yeast is at a certain temperature, the water. But who wouldn't? I didn't. You kind of go through this and you learn as you go. And I never thought air conditioning was going to be that important, but it ended up
Yeah.
being.
Important.
Especially
Pizza.
Florida, it's so hot down there in the summertime. It's ridiculous. People don't go out until like 5 o'clock.
Yeah, it's just
so
too hot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's crazy. That's so crazy. I love all pizza too. I really do. When he was saying he'll have any pizza, I was thinking about our Vermont trip last year. And we were beating the time, and all the restaurants it was a small little town, and we didn't know you had to book blah, blah. So we got a little frozen pizza, and I remember just beating it and loving it. It
so
wasn't.
bad.
It
No,
wa-
we rated it based off of the circumstance.
Yes, exactly. We rated based off
Yeah.
circumstance.
It was a pretty bad pizza.
It was
though.
bad.
It was, but like you said, in
But
the
it filled your
time,
bellies.
in the setting, it was like, this is pizza for me right now.
Yeah.
And it's good right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it. We were Woodstock, Vermont.
Yes.
And like small town, everything closed at like 9, and it was like 8 o'clock. We're like getting ready to
Like
go
shut
out.
down.
Yeah,
Like
restaurants
Nothing
are
is
closing.
open.
Yeah, which is crazy.
done.
Yeah. That's funny.
And of course we went. It was the only snowstorm of the year.
Well, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
That
No,
a
it was
good
great.
thing.
That
It was great for the
Right.
ski.
For the
Yeah.
ski,
Not the
but not
driving.
for the food.
Yeah. Or the food.
Yeah. No, I totally agree with that statement. I love all styles. And it's basically, for example, you just said it, your style pizza is bar pizza. There's no one we're going to for bar pizza.
Right.
What's like, there's places that have opened up, haven't been there. Beverly's Bacon. I'm only going to Beverly's
Right.
for their bacon pie.
Yeah, nothing else.
And
really.
we've tried it. It's just not the same. Southport Pizza. That's got a very Joe and Pat's, right? Style. That's Staten Island, correlation.
We tried them. A lot of those guys were at the
Joe and Pat's?
guys and gals were at the One Bite Pizza Festival.
Oh yeah.
down in Brooklyn,
Right.
Coney Island.
Yeah.
So they were. I'm pretty sure they were there, and there was like a million great places. It
Yeah.
was
Oh my
like a
God.
field day for
Yeah.
pizza lovers.
Joe and
But,
Pat's is my favorite.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, because obviously my mother grew up on it, so naturally I
Yep.
grew up on it, and it was just that pizza. I could literally drink a cup of their sauce.
You could
Like, it's
say
so
that
good.
it's part of you. Because
Yeah.
if your mom
Yes.
had
It's your
that pizza
DNA.
while you were pregnant, or she's pregnant.
Oh, wow.
Oh yeah, true.
That
I would have
pizza
to ask her
made
to
you-
confirm though.
Yes.
Hey mom.
Yeah, I'm sure she did.
Yeah,
though.
a couple decades ago, did you happen to have pizza while you were pregnant with me from Joe and Pat's? I'm sure she would remember.
No, that pizza is very good. I remember my first time having that pie actually too. That's how good it was. That's the place where or is that the place that went out of business where we stood outside?
Nunzio's is the place that went out of business.
That place was great too.
That another place I grew up on, and then I could not believe they closed because they
I
survived
know.
Sandy. Would have got hammered on Sandy, like flooded.
you said it
Totally.
was the kids though.
Yeah, the dad wanted to retire, kids didn't want it, and now it's like a cabinet place.
Oh,
What a travesty! You know,
that hurts.
it really
It's
does.
such a cool little design too, because obviously you can go in, but they had like a nice little takeout window too.
Yeah,
If you're
they had
walking,
like, you just
go-
stand and bar. Like,
Yeah.
It was a stand-up bar almost.
Yeah.
You just eat a slice of pizza with a Coke, and then
Yep.
you walk out.
yeah.
Great spot. And it was there from when my grandfather was going to get pizza when he was young. It was ridiculous.
I'm glad I got to experience it now.
Yeah, you're lucky.
Yeah, I
you're
am.
lucky.
I really
Very.
am.
Yeah.
Was that one of the pies we got the dough from too?
Yeah, so we got one from Nunzio's, one from Joe and Pat's, and one from Lee's Tavern, maybe? I don't think we
Yeah.
went to Danino's.
No. So we had a client, I don't know, year and a half to almost 2 years now.
Probably more. Probably
Maybe
closer
2
to
years
3.
now.
Yeah.
And she wanted to do this whole show, but one of them was a pizza testing
Connecticut versus New York.
Connecticut
pizza,
versus New
basically.
York. So we got them like somewhat cooked.
Yeah, half baked pies.
Yes.
Basically.
So then we did we finished
Yeah.
cooking them. We had a kitchen set
Yeah.
too that we got
nice.
to do
to
it all.
use. Joe and Pat's one.
Yeah, Joe and Pat's one.
Yeah. But we got pizza from those 2 places on Staten Island. We got, and then Sally's was closed that day, right?
Sally's
So we
was
couldn't get
closed.
Sally. But we got Modern Bar and Frank Pepe's.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But obviously, again, like you're talking about a lot of variables, actually.
Yeah, so many
'cause
variables.
The half baked pies.
Yes.
The oven that we use at the spot, you
Yes.
know, like the
Not
fact that
that good.
Sally's was closed that day too, like that was crazy,
Yeah.
you know. So, it's hard to judge,
Mm-hmm.
certainly.
Yeah. I mean, it's
Yeah.
a fun experiment.
It is.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
It
it's
is.
gonna be like the chicken or the egg question.
It
Really.
is.
Like it's
Yeah.
never gonna really have an answer.
It's all opinion based.
Yeah,
too.
it's so
Yeah.
subjective. But,
Yeah.
but there's so many good options as part of the country. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
you mentioned like the big boys from New Haven, and I mean, you can't go wrong with most of these options, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Depends on your mood, what you're
Naughty
doing.
Dolphin. Shout out
No,
Naughty
Dolphin's
Dolphin.
great.
Yeah.
It's really good.
It's got the little cornmeal in the bottom.
Yeah,
Yeah. Oh.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yep, that's a different.
Yeah.
That's a difference right there.
And they're always, I always have an experience walking in there picking up a pie.
oh yeah,
Because it's always kind of hectic. Someone's
Yeah.
screaming something.
Trains going
Yeah,
by. in the
yeah,
background.
exactly.
Yeah.
The train.
yep.
Oh, so funny.
No
That's
man.
great.
What and are you like when you just about like changing, adding new stores and stuff? Like what goes into that? What is a deciding factor? Like, are you guys, for example, right now, you guys have so many locations. Are you even thinking about that right now? Or are you just kind of not maintaining, but making sure everything's a-okay right now?
Yeah, I think we're in a period of increasing our bench for leadership, like managers. We opened 3 restaurants in 4.5 years, which for us, I mean,
That's a lot.
it's a lot for a small business like ours. It's not.
I feel like that's a lot in general. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, we're 5,000 square, 4,500 to 5,000 square feet, full bar, over 180 seats, full takeout. Our kitchens are basically like bakeries, so they're larger than a lot of probably concepts. But I think we're in a pattern now of just like strengthening our bench, as I say, and quality control, and we're going to keep our eye out for spots if we think it makes sense, but we don't want to just do it for the sake of doing it,
right.
because it's hard, and you have to kind of like get excited for something and make sure that we think it fits demographics, and we have to make sure it's not, we've been fortunate that we've been able to kind of self-fund now that we've had some success. So it's really not the money that prevents us from looking at a new spot. It's really just the number of people we have that we feel like can run a restaurant. Because if we don't have a general manager and at least 2 or 3 other people in our system, so to speak, like we're not going to do it.
Right.
Because it's hard. Because who's going to tell the story about the grill and like why it's only pizza, and who's going to talk about the hot oil, or why is there a picture of military on your walls? If people don't kind of know those things,
Yeah.
you can try to
Yeah,
teach them, but it's kind of ingratiated into who we are.
The culture.
Yeah.
No, 100%. You feel that too. Like the staff definitely embodies that for sure. The servers to anybody, the hostess, even is about that. Why Virginia? What was it like someone said this could be a good market for you guys?
There's not a lot of real estate left in Connecticut. We love Connecticut. I think we'll do another restaurant, hopefully at some point in Connecticut, or even up, towards Boston, or maybe even another one in Westchester somewhere. But we were looking for places that had similar attributes to Fairfield County, because we like Fairfield County. We're family driven. It's a lot of highly educated people who like to eat outside the home. A lot of families, sports, youth sports, arts. So. A lot of traffic. There's universities. There's tons of schools. So Arlington mirrors that in a lot of ways. I think there's like 12 middle schools within 10 miles of the restaurant. It's a quick hop into the city, but not in the city. I don't think we're like a city brand. I think we're more like suburban, commuter locations.
Yeah.
But people, places where people want to go out to eat and commune together. Younger. Doesn't have to be younger, but like, again, families like to eat outside the home. They want to be together. We try to be like that third place for people.
Yeah.
It's kind of like.
Yeah. That's what's missing in the world. I just saw a TikTok recently on that. Like I don't want to say back in the day, but back in the day, that's what a lot of people in America had, was a third place.
Yep.
Where they felt loved, they felt wanted. That wasn't home and it wasn't work. and that's where the sanity like was okay. And now that's missing in society apparently, and that's why a lot of people are on top of everything else kooky.
Yeah, I mean, it's missing in a lot of parts of society.
Yeah.
You know, obviously there's, you know, social media and internet, and people are very, you know, there's blockages to get to the actual person, right? Like, you know, where in the past, when I grew up working in restaurants, you know, there was still smoking in restaurants and all
That's
that.
sick.
It was,
That's crazy.
But people were very much, you know, conversation driven.
Cheers.
Exactly.
We love Cheers. Yeah, we had
maybe a little grittier than Cheers, but definitely Cheers. And you know, now I kind of laugh, and I'm part of the problem. But I go into a restaurant now, and I'm sitting there by myself, and I'm on my phone with my head down. And, you know, you kind of miss a lot.
Yeah.
And, there's so many. Sure. I remember traveling for work when I was. You know, I mentioned the NBC experience. I was a young person, but I literally, for that age, was traveling all over the world. And I can't tell you how many like conversations I had in the hotel lobby or hotel bar or hotel restaurant or, you know, and just like amazing stories that, you know, if I had my head down on the phone, I wouldn't have experienced. And I think those experiences created who I was ultimately going to be as a business person, as a father, you know, and if you don't have that, you're just not as well-rounded. So
exactly.
I try to catch myself when I have my head down at a bar and my phone and try to maybe say hi to somebody or, you know, ask the bartender's background or her background. Not necessarily, you know, hopefully not in a weird way, hopefully, exactly. But just in an inquisitive way.
Yeah.
You know,
hey, what's your background?
Exactly. I just think everybody has a story, and there's so many interesting stories out there. So you know, I try to tell my kids that too. Obviously, it's a different generation, and the technology is amazing, and it's increasing exponentially every second.
Crazy.
But there's nothing like hand-to-hand human combat. You know,
100%. Yeah, 100%. That's why I do love this show so much too. It's like you just said, everybody has a story, and when do you sit down?
Yeah, and really hear it. I'm sorry. You know,
and
hopefully my story's not as boring as.
Oh no way!
It's a great story.
I was gonna ask, how old are your kids? Like, what's the range?
Yeah, we have 5 kids, 20 down to 11.
Wow.
Yeah.
Why 5 kids? Can I ask that?
I'll ask you the same question.
Yeah. Was that always like? Yeah.
I mean,
was it always like your plan to have like a bunch of kids?
No, we probably thought we'd. My wife is one of 9.
Oh wow!
Yeah, she's from a big Irish Catholic
That's
family.
Awesome. That's like Mr. Greenwood. He was one of 9 as well.
Yeah, which wasn't was fairly common.
Yeah.
You know, maybe not 9, but definitely multiple. You know,
right.
4 or 5,
like
6.
5. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So, but
he's like,
I'm speechless. I just had a mini stroke.
Wait, I have 5.
Yeah. I just remembered.
Yeah.
I've been just working so much these past 14 years.
Yeah. No, but you know, they're great. But I mean, the first couple I didn't see them that often. I you know, truly was working a lot, just like my partners. We were just trying to establish a business and doing different things. But you know, the family's great. 2 of my kids are coming home this week from college.
Cool.
Oh, cool.
So it's a different vibe in the house now. It's a little quieter, and then they come home. There's like a bustling holiday atmosphere. So it's really kind of special. And, you know, but you know, family's great, and I think that's what it's all about. But you know, I don't even know what your original question was. I'm still in a stupor.
Kids and your what's your wife's name?
My wife's name is it's Eilish. I think in Ireland they'd probably say Eilish.
Okay.
Eilish.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you guys go to Ireland at all? Does she have family there? Or?
She does still have family there. We went a couple years ago for my oldest son's 16th birthday, so about 4 years ago. We had probably one of the best nights of my life. You know, and it was in a pub. And they're a musical family, so all the family there, you know, they're coming in and out all night long, you know, sitting in.
Oh,
cool, yeah.
So it's a pint.
Yeah.
Everybody's talking. Literally in a nondescript pub in sort of like we were up in Belfast, and you know, sort of like a nondescript neighborhood there in the city, and we walk in, and there's just this warmth to the Irish people, and they're storytellers, and nobody was on their phones, and just so welcoming, and I didn't want to leave. I mean, it was so memorable. My son had a great experience to have his first Guinness.
He loves Guinness.
It's my favorite beer.
Yeah,
we went to the Guinness plant over there in Dublin.
Yeah, it's great. So cool. That you went to the Sky Bar on top of each of the whole. So cool.
It's amazing. It's like the Willy Wonka chocolate
literally
factory for beer.
Yeah, it's like 5 floors, Mike. Of the Guinness
I've never
factory.
been.
Ridiculous.
You don't take me anywhere.
No. Well, that's a tough trip. You know, you got to work really hard to play that hard. You know.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But
Well, I was gonna ask you, like, are your kids involved at all with like the restaurant? Because I know, like, when I worked at a family-owned business back in Jersey, it was like Italian restaurant. The kids were like brought like,
Through in it.
is that the right way to say it, in the business?
Yeah.
And they were like very much there a lot. Were your kids like kind of the same or different?
yeah, I mean, I think we've tried to kind of make sure they've had other jobs. Like my oldest two, one will come home from college or in the summer. He'll work at one of our restaurants now as like a bus by bar back. My daughter, who goes to the University of Tampa, is actually working at for a little spare money.
Yeah,
Cool.
She'll
Down
work there. But I told them they had to get jobs first before they worked at Colony. So they've worked at other restaurants. They're lifeguards. They're
Smart.
they've my son did some Uber driving.
Wow.
But I just didn't want them to be like, oh, dad's getting me the job at Colony, and then walking right in, and all of a sudden, like the owner's son is their daughter's running the show, which they're not. But I think they have a good understanding of, hey, this is not an easy job. There's people doing this who have been doing this for longer than you, who are doing, in some cases, doing it as a career, in some cases, doing it for part-time job. But you can't go in there and all of a sudden be a big shot. You need to learn from the ground up.
Exactly.
So I'm glad they had experiences at other places where the bosses could tell them what to do. And, and I'm probably, I'm hard on them. So, I hear everything that goes on at the restaurant, and we're fortunate. I think they're mature kids and they do the right things. But I was a little nervous about doing it. So I think my wife and I were like, listen, just go work somewhere else for a couple of years before you do the Colony thing. And I think it's a good job for them as 16, 17, 18, 19-year-old people. But they also, I think, want to do their own thing.
Build their own.
Yeah,
carve their
we're
own
not
path.
grooming them to be like the next owners of Colony.
Right.
Who knows what'll happen down the line? But we all have kids, and I don't know if the restaurant business is for our kids necessarily. But I don't mind as long as they're working hard and being mature. Like if you want to put a few extra bucks in your pocket and you're helping the cause, that's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just said like you don't know where you guys are gonna be, but that just made me think of the question like, did you ever picture yourself ever doing this?
Yeah, good call.
In any facet?
Yeah, it's a good question. As a young person, I remember like my cousins, we all kind of grew up in the restaurant business. So like in the summertime, I remember being 10 years old, and there was like this, how do you describe it? Almost like a gazebo or a rain house, like a small little thing that was like almost abandoned, but it was in the middle of our neighborhood, and we used to make it like a restaurant.
Oh, cool.
Or like a lunchtime restaurant. So we'd bring stuff, and nobody's driving around either. Like it would have failed in one day. Yeah. But like we like the make believe of the restaurant experience and like being hosts and being gracious to people.
That's cool.
So I always had that, I think, in my blood from a young age. So I could see myself. I was always I always had a romantic idea of restaurants. Watching movies about restaurants or reading about restaurants. I always thought that when restaurants are at their best, they're dimly lighted, the music's perfect, there's that hum of people talking and communing together. I love that. I think that's great.
Me too.
And it doesn't always work out that way. And obviously there's some warts to the restaurant business. It's not always like it's not always,
Hallmark
it's
movie,
not always that romantic, a Hallmark movie, as you say,
Mm-hmm.
certainly. But I always kind of like that idea. So I could see myself doing something, but obviously I never anticipated a pizza business with my three partners and we don't sell anything else on the menu. But I loved media and journalism growing up. I had a romantic idea of that as well. And I did that, and it was a wonderful experience. And I think if I didn't do that, I couldn't have probably been successful with my partners in this role or in this restaurant world.
Yes.
And I think my partners would probably say the same thing about their experiences.
Yeah.
Like I'm a big believer in like just taking each thing you have, throwing it into to your file, and then you never know when it's going to kind of come back up.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
No, I totally agree. Like you said you're bolstering your bench, and we joke about it, but we have a starting five. We have a bench, that's how we structured our business, like a basketball team almost, and you're wearing the Colony logo. I loved the aspect of you're no longer representing yourself. You're representing so many factions and factors in this whole grand scheme. It's like now when I go out, I'm not just Mike Theofil representing me and my family. I'm not just representing Downtime TV and Uptime Productions. I'm also representing Tony and Renee and everybody next to me is standing next to me, because then when I go out and about, if I'm an asshole, People are looking at them.
Yeah.
You guys are assholes too. You know what I mean? So it's definitely super important. Like all the I wouldn't be. I always say like it'd be cool to go back and change stuff, but I wouldn't want to because like now looking back, who I'm surrounded by, that's my biggest thing is for me personally is who I'm surrounded by. They know this. I've had such a rough go with the people who love me since birth. And it's just constantly getting fucked over, you know, by people. And I'm blessed and I thank God every day because, you know, people get bitter or whatever. But I'm really happy that I haven't gotten bitter. And now, I have such good people around me. It's insane. I cried the other day on my birthday because in the morning of my birthday because, you know, and I don't like my birthday. They know that. And it's nothing more so than it's awkward for me. The tension, the this, the that. It's just awkward for me. It's not me, but they've made me appreciate it in these last couple years. And I was just crying because it's like, I'm so blessed. I got the best people around me. But if I didn't go through all those fires, if I didn't have people F me over so much, I wouldn't know what's in front of me type of an outcome. So it's really cool you say that because people need to hear that more. That's another reason why we have this show is to help people hear other perspectives and wake up, you know, like not be so negative, not so be in the dumps all the time, you know, not listening to these loser Logan Paul brothers and this and that and feeding your mind with all this corruption, you know. It's hear people like you know, someone who, you know, one of my favorite guests who's a dear, dear friend of ours and a mentor now, former DEA agent Graham. You walk by this man, you would never know who he is. Ever. You look at him and there's probably so many people that judge this man, and he's more fluent than people who are actually Spanish. He's more fluent than them in different dialects of Espanol. And I just love that. I love this whole thing that is going on right now. You know, to sum this up, it's just really cool to be in this space right now in time. Honestly, it's really cool. I'm really appreciative of it and you being here. Gosh, I don't even know how I went on that rant. It's all right.
Doesn't matter.
But I don't know. Do you guys have any other questions?
Oh yeah.
Cool. Go ahead. Yeah.
How do you feel about the Ranger season so far?
Oh,
Can we talk
yeah.
Rangers?
Oh yeah,
Can we
let's
do that?
definitely talk
Let's go.
Rangers.
Yes.
How many games do you go to on average per year?
You know, when I was younger, I used to go a lot more. I don't go as much. Just we typically will take the kids to one game right around Christmas, which is great. We'll go into the city, have a dinner, and go to the game.
Love it. Now, what's like the protocol, like with Chris being involved with Colony?
Yeah.
Is it just like, hey, come by, we'll have tickets for you, sort of deal?
Or you don't abuse that.
Yeah,
No,
yeah,
I
yeah.
think
No, of course not.
You know,
but
Chris, we've all grown up together,
Yeah.
so we knew Chris before he was professional, and we know him now that he's retired and he's the general manager of the New York Rangers. We try not to bug him for tickets, honestly, and he's super gracious. Like he helped me out a little bit with the family thing because I think he knows I might pick my spots, and hopefully I'm not bugging him more than maybe once a year.
Oh yeah.
He was very gracious. My son. We have a little thing in my family when you turn 10, you get to go somewhere in the United States, contiguous United States, not Hawaii. But I took my our youngest is a hockey player,
Cool.
so he wanted to go see the Rangers play. So we went to Dallas, and Chris, you know, he set it up. He's able to go to the morning skate,
Right. Oh,
and
that's so
you know,
cool.
watch the Dallas players, watch the Rangers players. You know, which for me was a kick, but I can imagine for my 10-year-old at the time who was a hockey player, he must have thought it was the best thing ever, and it was. So, you know, Chris is busy. His role, he's probably busier now than he was playing, frankly,
Right.
because we try not to bug him because he has a big role, but he's been very gracious over the years, and you know. You asked how are you feeling about the Rangers season? I'm feeling tremendous.
Yeah,
You know,
right.
I think they're off to an incredible start. They had a tough one the other night against Ottawa, but you know, I think you can see Chris's personality in the team a little bit. Super
wow.
competitive. I heard something the other night that they're kind of keeping track of wins and losses and stats from practice.
Yeah, I heard that too.
Yeah, which I thought was really cool. And I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, that's got Chris Drury written all over it
That's
because
great.
Chris is someone who's, I don't know if there's anybody more competitive than Chris, and you know, we've known him, you know, since literally 6 years old. So he's a super hard worker, Chris, and I think the Rangers are going to do well with him as long as he's at the helm. but I think this year could be a great year. You know, they have injuries can kind of pile up on you, and
Yeah, the Kako injury is tough.
Yeah.
Obviously, Heedle's
Heedle.
still out too.
yeah. But you know, they have Shesterkin. If he's on, he can carry you to probably deep into the playoffs. And Adam Fox is one of the best defensemen in the league.
Yeah,
And,
and-
the list goes on and on. But and you know, Chris he's had to battle a pretty tough salary cap.
Yeah.
And I think with the amount of money he had and who he's brought in, you know, veteran leadership,
Mm-hmm.
and he's done a great job.
I love the way Trouba has kind of progressed
Mm.
as a captain. Because again, I mean, you know, him, he's getting paid like $8 million a year, I think, right? You know, coming over at first, Rangers weren't doing well, and you know, everyone still talks about that game against the Blackhawks where he's throwing his helmet after the fight. They're down 3-0. This was last season. The Blackhawks were trash, but ever since then, I mean, I don't know. I feel like he just really became a leader. Loves laying the body. Love that. You can talk about how dirty you think his hits are, which there are some, but I don't know. I think he's got a great sense of leadership, and the people definitely, the players definitely follow him. I think it's awesome.
Yeah, and I think
Yeah.
leadership is something like anything else. You have to like work at it and learn. And
Oh yeah,
you could see his progression. Just as I'm certainly not inside, but just watching as a fan, you see that progression. And I think you see that in business, like you see it with your leaders and who's doing the right things and who's kind of keeps growing. But yeah, I'm super excited about the Rangers.
Yeah, me
I'm
too.
so happy Chris is at the helm. And yeah, I mean you asked about like him, you know, getting tickets, and you got to remember, like, I'm one person asking for tickets. He's
Yeah,
getting
probably
a
a million.
million different
Yeah,
people,
yeah.
some of whom he doesn't even know, I'm sure, or, you know, writing him, you know, emails from
Yeah.
the general, you know, MSG email address. But no, he's good. He's had to handle that for a long time, and he's a pretty generous guy.
Yeah, no, it's great to see because obviously I grew up being a Rangers fan. You know, I remember one of my, I guess, first memories was really the Cup run. I was in high school. I think I was a junior when they played the Kings, maybe sophomore year. And that was like one of my first kind of like full seasons following. You know, the Rangers were great. The Cup, they got absolutely pummeled by the Kings. But it was just so cool. I mean, that was like one of my earliest memories of like following a sports team, like legitimately through the whole year. I remember being up like game one of the Cup final was like a triple overtime loss. It's like a Tuesday. It's 2 in the
Gut-wrenching,
morning,
yeah.
and I'm screaming at my TV in my bedroom. My mother's yelling at me. They ended up losing. It was all for nothing.
But yeah, it wasn't worth it.
It was worth it. It really was worth it though. But it was sick, dude. I really love it. Love it. It's great.
Yeah, my favorite sport memory of it was the '94 Rangers, because I was like a junior, senior in high school, and it was just amazing spring and summer. And they had, like, the Stefan Matteau goal. I don't know if you remember. They played Jersey in the semifinals of the Eastern Conference, and Stefan Matteau scored in overtime to win it. That's the only sports memorabilia I have is Stefan Matteau after scoring.
Oh, that's so cool.
That's cool.
But yeah, I mean, hockey's such a great sport. I didn't really play
Yeah,
hockey, but
yeah.
I played pond hockey and stuff like that. But it's,
Same.
Yeah.
My mother was always a little worried about me playing hockey. Plus the expensive,
The price,
yeah. To get your equipment, the travel team,
our-
the ice time.
our
it's
youngest
crazy.
guy is a hockey player, and I always joke, like, thank God we only have one hockey player,
Yeah.
because we'd have to open 2 more
I was
restaurants
gonna
to
say,
support
Yeah,
it.
I mean, it is.
Yeah.
It's
super
crazy.
incredible. Yeah, he plays for Mid Fairfield, which is based out of Stamford, Connecticut, and they travel more than the New York Rangers. I feel like he was in Ottawa last
Yeah.
week. They're going to
No
Toronto next
kidding.
week. Yeah,
Oh
it's
my
never ending.
goodness. They got the whole Canadian tour going, huh?
Yeah,
That's so cool.
It's not an inexpensive sport, but it
Yeah.
is a great sport.
It is.
Yeah.
So much fun to watch, and like you said, pond hockey, definitely fun. Well, if
Yeah,
you
just to
ever
play.
need to live out your sports, journalism career, you can
Yeah.
come to the Sports Port every Monday through Friday, 10 a.m.
Yeah.
You could call in,
We,
video in, or come in live.
I love it.
Yeah.
Ken from Trumbles on the line.
Yeah, we have a pretty decent following for that show.
Yeah.
Not only because it's been going on for so long, but and Brian and Tony are amazing. But we went to an ESPN Beach Bash, Michael K. Beach Bash in the summer. Got press passes, covered it, interviewed Don LaGreca, Dave Rothenberg, Rick DiPietro. And
cool.
yeah, it's so cool. And they have a show, Rick and Dave, on 98.7.
Yeah.
Goes from 6 to 10. We're from 10 to noon. And they have a fan club called The Company. Shout out The Company. First shout out on The Dream is Free. And there's I don't know, 1,000 of them.
Yeah, there's a
like,
lot. Yeah.
There's a lot of them, and we've been very blessed to have them
Yeah.
love us and transition from the 6 to 10 with them and come to us from 10 to 12.
We like interviewed them at that event.
Oh, wow.
And they're just guys who like to get together, talk sports.
Yeah.
So like they're like, oh, you got this podcast. They started tuning in. They started calling in. Now every day, it's like
Every day.
Every day.
We were in
this morning. A
groups,
couple of them called. Hot Take Johnny called
Take
in.
Johnny.
Yeah.
yeah.
His hot
great.
take was that Soto's not going to be that great for the
Yep.
Yankees.
Yep.
But whatever.
He's a Met fan.
Yeah.
Bitter Met fan.
Oh, but yeah, it's fun. It's cool.
Yeah.
Like just sitting down talking sports. I mean, that's really what
You would love that show because it's not your
Yeah.
meat and potatoes of just NBA and whatever the 4 main sports. They go in.
Brian
and
loves golf.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh,
cool.
a lot of
Yeah.
and just they're very good. Like all those other sports shows, they just regurgitate. Whoever is the first person to say it, basically.
Yeah.
If it's Stephen A, if it's whatever, and then everybody's like, in their own
Yeah.
way saying that same opinion. It's so stupid.
Yeah, and we actually just converted. Brian the host didn't really watch hockey.
Yeah.
he was really more into NBA. But we get, obviously, like when I came on the show, I started talking Rangers hockey, and he kind of got into it, and it was a whole big
over.
thing because, of course, he started watching hockey. He's like, "Wow, who's this Connor McDavid guy?"
Yeah.
the Oilers. Wow, that could be a good team to follow. And so he was like almost leaning towards Edmonton. I'm like, Brian, like what?
What are you doing?
What are you doing? Like, you got to follow the Rangers. Like, you can't be. And then he followed. He's like, all right, let's do the Rangers. So
Yeah,
last
I'm glad.
season was his first full year. And oh my good, he was getting so tight at Gerard Gallant all
my
season
God,
last year. It was
he's-
so funny.
He's Dave Rothenberg, but just a Yankees and Rangers
Yeah.
fan.
Right.
And
Ruthless.
Jets fan.
Like he comes in after a loss, and it's just
You don't understand.
just tell me it's gonna be
Yankees are
okay.
his life.
Yeah. It's like he gets so downtrodden. I'm like, Brian, there's like 161 more games
Yeah.
to go, Brian. Like,
It's early.
yeah.
No, he doesn't. After they lost the ALCS.
No, it was wild card against the Red Sox.
Against the Red Sox. We
at
went to the-
Fenway.
We went to the diner the next night.
No, it was that night. That night.
And I could. He's
Yeah.
just like I thought he was gonna
Yeah,
cry in front of his pancakes.
And the TV at the diner bar is like replaying
Oh
the
my
game.
God.
And he's just like, oh my.
me outta here.
Yeah.
He's the best though literally for that reason. He loves sports so much. He's the best host you could ever ask for. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
We got so lucky.
Yeah.
Should be. With
And
ESPN.
he is a great Rangers fan now. He's
Amazing.
dialed in. He wants to go to Jack Dempsey's and he wants
every
to go
night.
to the game every night.
Every night.
Yeah,
Must
yeah.
tell
Mustang
me.
Sally's.
Yeah.
funny.
Ridiculous. The drinking, Tony. Any other questions?
Other than our usual.
I know that.
Did we cover all we want about pizza?
I know. I think
right?
so.
I
He
mean,
really gave a good, vast answer.
Yeah.
I
Political.
felt like I
very,
was rambling on
very
there.
yeah,
political.
yeah. Did we narrow it down to like favorite spot in Fairfield? Can we
I don't
get
think
that?
he's gonna do that.
No.
My favorite spot in Fairfield, I mean, it's
Colony.
Colony Grill.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to think. I do like Naughty Dolphin a lot behind us.
Yeah.
I'm assuming you've had Southport pizza, right?
Yes.
Sicilian pie there.
I love Sicilian pizza.
Their
Yeah.
Sicilian pie, I think, is the best
Yeah.
I've had in
Yeah.
Connecticut.
It's
so
really
good.
Wow.
Yeah.
I was a
Like it,
pizza delivery boy there when I was young, so I kind of have a bias. Like
Does
when
it
I
get
was young.
caramelized around the edges?
Yes.
does, it does.
Yes, it
Yeah.
does.
That's,
so good.
I don't like when
Telltale?
it's not.
Yeah, and
Like
it's
when
like
it's a
the
little
dough
too
is
bready.
like thick but airy.
Yes.
and it's just great. And
Yes.
the Horseshoe Cafe is right there
Yes,
too.
yeah.
So
Horseshoe's
it's-
classic.
yeah,
Dude,
yeah.
it is the best
Yeah,
bar
Yeah.
from New Haven to Stamford.
It's got so much character.
It does.
It's got so many characters.
Yeah.
inside.
Oh
yeah,
my
that's like
goodness.
it's Cheers.
Yeah.
That's Cheers.
Mike and I talk about it every time we go there.
Yes.
Not only are there the usual suspects,
yes.
but there's always different people
Yeah.
we've never seen there
Never
before,
seen it,
and
never
we
will.
frequent that bar.
Yes.
we actually do our sports sport though every other Sunday, which is great.
It is.
But every time, new people.
Every single time. The pool table. It's sad though, recently Fairfield U, the new, I guess they're probably sophomores, I'm assuming, in that age group.
always forget, yeah.
They tore up the Horseshoe
Yeah.
2 weeks ago,
really?
maybe. Tore it up. Literally destroyed
Yes.
destroyed it, pouring beer in the pool.
That's terrible.
Throwing up.
Where the balls go.
Pockets.
Pockets, sorry. Throwing up, mixing
So-
ketchup and mustard on the table. Like,
Yeah, it's nonsense.
Yeah.
yeah, it's crazy. So
Like so just immature, and like it's funny because obviously doing the show there, we have gotten friendly with the ownership and stuff, and they again we went there, we're like, hey, we're all shoe alumni, we're doing our podcast here, let's have like a shoe night at the
Yeah.
shoe sort of deal, and they're like, we don't really want to like cater towards college kids, rightfully so.
after we heard
But
this,
now
yeah.
they're getting like bombarded, I guess, with Fairfield students because they hear about this bar or whatever. It's a great bar. And they come
is.
there and it's just like, I mean, what can you do? Like, it's tough.
That's a shame.
It
Yeah.
really is. Like, this isn't the sea grape, okay?
No,
there's
it's
some
not.
class here.
There
There's
is class.
some decorum, at least.
Some.
Yeah.
So you guys don't have any other questions, right?
No, that's really it.
Okay. The questions we do ask at the end is a book that's helped you in life or that you're reading now if you're a reader. And then the other one is advice you'd give to a younger you.
Good questions. I would say 2 books. One, Catcher in the Rye. Read that. I remember reading that in like 7th, 8th grade. I read it again senior in high school. I read it again senior in college, and I read it again recently.
Wow.
And the ability of the written word to change the world, and just really like how amazing the human spirit or the human creative process is. Like J.D. Salinger to write that book, and to resonate to a 7th grader, to a senior in high school, to someone in college, and then an adult for many different reasons. I just thought it was fascinating from like just like an American creative spirit, and I learned a lot from that in terms of like controlling your own destiny, just writing, just the whole process of the art form of the American novel. I just found it like sort of changed my life as a 7th grader, 8th grader.
Cool.
Because I've never really been a great student, but I became a more thoughtful student, I think, after that. And then the book that probably changed my world, and I'm sorry to drone on here.
No.
But
We could be here all day.
Danny
I just know you have stuff to do.
Yeah, occasionally.
Yeah.
Danny Meyer wrote a book called Setting the Table. Danny Meyer, basically, he started Shake Shack, and that's how most people know him. But he really changed the New York restaurant landscape in the late '80s. He opened. He has Gramercy Tavern, and he had what's the other one? The cafe downtown, Union Square Cafe, and that restaurant really changed Manhattan dining. He was 27 years old when he did it, and he made fine dining less stuffy. He made the wine world more accessible, because to that point it was like snooty French restaurants and like maitre d's with your nose turned up.
Right.
And he really he took the restaurant world from service to hospitality. Now people talk about that all the time now, but that was not something that was really a thing. And he really changed the whole dining landscape in America. He wasn't a chef. He was front of house driven. But he wrote a book eventually about his experiences called Setting the Table. And there's a number of themes in there that we really emulate or try to emulate at Colony, in terms of who you're hiring. He calls it the 51%. There's 51% of the population who are cut out to work in a hospitality business. There's 49% who aren't. And that doesn't mean they're bad people. It just means they're probably going to be accountants or other things.
Yes. Their mind works different.
It does.
Yeah.
They're not like a service oriented or servant mentality.
Yeah,
almost in some ways.
hospitality. Yeah, no way. Yep.
He talks about how mistakes can be really made to be some of your best opportunities to create long life guests, and he talks about that constantly in his book. And also, I'm not sure he came up with this, and I certainly didn't come up with it, but just again, business just comes down to how you make people feel. It's not about like the best pizza or the coldest beer, although those help. But it's really just how do the people feel when they're interacting with you or when they leave. And that's been like sort of one of our guiding principles. So that book was super helpful because I was reading that, before we opened Colony, and we've used that in some of our training. And
Cool.
He's a fascinating guy, Danny Meyer, and he's had some road bumps along the way with the pandemic and just some PR stuff. But I mean, he's amazing guy. And so those 2 books come to mind.
Really
it was a
cool.
10-minute answer for your short question.
No, I love those. No, they're usually longer. They're longer answers. I love books. We love reading. We love educating. So those are great choices. I don't think we've had anyone say those 2 options.
Catcher in the Rye, definitely not.
No.
And it's so funny because I
you
feel
probably
like
read it.
everyone and their mothers read it in grade
it's
school.
kind of an
you know?
obvious one. And it's almost that's sort of a juvenile perspective, but it's really like a complex book in so many ways. And I just remember like just changing my world from an academic perspective, and even as the character in the story was sort of my age when I wrote it.
I mean, there's a reason why that book is so coveted.
It's amazing.
He found out what it is.
Yeah.
And then the last question was advice you'd give to a younger you out there?
Yeah, I think probably needed a lot of advice if I can go back.
Invest in Bitcoin.
Yeah.
I had a pretty big temper, I would say, and I think part of that was a little bit of competitiveness in sports and wanted to be right all the time, and my way or the highway. So I think I probably would have listened more and spoke less if I can go back and do it again, and understand there's a lot of different perspectives in the room. Now, sometimes I was right, frankly, but
That's how Tony feels all the time.
but you think you know more than you probably do, and I think just going back and probably being a little bit better listener and a little bit less combative and more diplomatic in certain situations. You live and learn, but I think I've tried to maybe impart that to my children now, because the world is full of blowhards these days, and a lot of talking heads, and a lot of these people don't know anything.
Oh,
And,
yeah.
I mean, you're in the business, and you guys, but
You wonder how they make money, how they have a job type of stuff.
So often I ask myself that question.
So
about people.
often.
Right.
negativity sells.
Yeah.
And the loudest person in the room gets the rating. So it's
So annoying.
It's a tough environment, and certainly with social media, as we mentioned before. But I just think diplomacy and listening to people is really something I probably would have told my younger self to do a little bit more of. And I think I'm doing it a bit more now, but it would have been nicer to know that from 15 to 25, 30.
Yeah. No, it's definitely a good one. I love the, speak less, listen more. Definitely something I've had to learn too in my life over the years. But that's really great advice. Are you sure you guys don't have anything else? I feel like you guys do.
You forget I have more questions?
throughout.
Yeah, a
No,
lot
I
of good
just
questions.
feel like you guys,
They're like, get this guy out of here already, would you?
No
No.
way.
Yeah,
we
no,
love
no,
having.
no.
We were so
No, this is
excited. We wanted to
great.
get you in a week earlier. We were so excited to get you
Yeah.
here. Honestly, we wanted you to see our studio and see and feel our energy and who we are.
Which, by the way, the studio is amazing, and all the memorabilia from my sort of childhood, and your energy exudes into the space as well, which makes it really
Thanks.
pretty
Appreciate
fascinating
it.
place. It's really it's cool to be here.
Thanks.
I mean, just like, Colony, you kind of decorate it a certain way. It kind of has that vibe, that feel to it. And that's what makes it cool to get people in here. Because, getting people on podcasts sometimes can be a little hairy. Because some people walk in here, they see these lights and the cameras, and they kind of freeze up a little bit.
Right.
Try to make it as comfortable as possible.
I could have used a little more makeup next time.
Renee.
A little
I
foundation.
don't know anything about
Wow.
I know Renee doesn't
It wouldn't
use
help.
makeup.
It wouldn't help.
Mike knows more about makeup than I do.
I don't know anything.
Yeah.
Something I just remembered that I thought about before was you guys being really focused on supporting like the military and veterans and stuff like that. Like, does that tie personally to you? Does it tie personally to like the core of Colony when you guys bought it? Like,
Yeah, I think
about that?
a couple. It ties definitely to the core of Colony, because that's something that dates back to literally the 40s. My family and myself, I never served in the military, but it is personal to me because I'm very passionate about just. And this is not a political statement, but I'm just passionate about America being the best country in the world.
I mean, you said it I can't get out of my head at the Colony 5K. And if we're still keeping track, it's still the best country in the world. And everyone's just like, all right, tough crowd. That crowd was tough.
I know.
I would.
I know. But
you get a couple cheers. I mean, I just think you're
absolutely right, though.
There's good and bad in the world. Certainly, I think America's a great place.
Yeah.
I want my children and frankly people that walk in who are younger people into Colony to ask questions about the photos that are on our walls.
some people might think it's family, right? Members?
Yeah, there are some. There's a few family members from our bunch, but mostly it's 95% just photos that people have given to us from hey, this is my grandfather, this is my dad, this is my mom, and again, there's so many stories to those photos, and we have a Medal of Honor winner in Fairfield who hangs on our walls, which is one of amazing, and there's a Navy SEAL that we have on all our restaurant walls. He's from Stamford, Connecticut, and died in action in Afghanistan. But it's just like when I finally heard his story, it's like it's the most amazing person I've ever heard. And then you hear another story, it's like, oh, that's the most amazing person that I've ever heard, and it's just incredible. But I think the celebration of service, which we do in our race, sacrifice, the American dream. I know some of this stuff sounds hokey these days, but for us, it's very important. We benefited very much, my partners and I, from coaches, from teachers, from certainly our parents, who came up in a culture of sacrifice and a culture of respect. And I don't care who's in the office at the White House. I just think that sort of permeates beyond the political spectrum. And we love the country, and we think there's so much opportunity still, and we want our kids and all people really to come into the restaurant to understand, like, we didn't get here by accident. A lot of sacrifice, a lot of people who took the call when asked, and not only in the war, but just locally. People who wear a badge and people who would get on a fire truck, and we saw it in 9/11 and things like that. And people say, "Oh, stop beating your chest," but we're very passionate about it because I think that's the backbone of America, and we try to make that come through in our restaurant in sort of an apolitical way, but just a very American way.
No, it's great. Yeah, because a lot of for example, there's tension with cops and this and that. It's all BS at the end of the day.
Yeah.
It's like, who are you gonna call? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're gonna call the people who are in uniform, who are there to protect and serve. And it's like that is, and it's like good. You do love America. You say we love America without forcing it down anyone's throat. In there, it really is.
I
it's
like
great.
that. I like the highlighting of the photos because, like you said, when people come into the restaurant, they see it, and I think having a reminder of people who have given such an immense sacrifice right there on your wall, I think this really is really nice to see and a great reminder. And it's such like a simple way of remembering the sacrifice that people have made for us in the smallest ways to the biggest ways, you know? So I just really like that. That's a something that's part of your establishment. Really cool.
Yeah. I think our walls represent that there's always been a spirit in America that it's not just me, it's not just myself. And we have Medal of Honor winners, Navy SEALs who did amazing things, but there's also people who were stationed like in New Jersey for the duration of a war, and but they also they left their families, they did what they needed to do. There was probably women working in this factory during the wars, the old factory that used to be here where the studios are, because everybody chipped in. So not to be Pollyanna about it, but I just think I do think that's what separates America, that tradition, that history. Every country has things that would like to change, but I would I still want to live here more than anywhere else in the world.
100 million
Like
%.
most people do.
Yeah.
And it's funny you mentioned that history because I feel like history, specifically now, I don't know if it's just like because of our generation, but it's so often like forgotten or not even talked about. Like even you touch upon how like families were even like when my parents were growing up, right? Like my mother was like one of 7. My grandmother didn't work. She stayed home with help the kids. Like my grandfather was who held like 2-3 jobs at a time, made that sacrifice to raise a good family.
To be able to raise the kids.
Exactly. Because of that, my mother was able to do what she does. She owns a hair salon. Because of that, I'm able to do this.
Yeah.
Like people so often forget that.
I know.
And it does translate to, like servicemen and women. And it's funny, my brother's a Port Authority officer. I make fun of him all the time because he sits at Newark Airport and doesn't do anything. But like you said, he works 18 hours a day. Like
and without him there, shit's gonna go on.
Exactly.
That now is not going on.
Yeah.
I know it is. It's crazy. And his dad was,
my father was a correctional officer. Same deal.
Uncles, firefighters.
Yeah. And again,
Definitely
you can
awesome.
make fun of my uncle. I mean, probably the biggest, he'll tell you, the two biggest takeaways he had from being a firefighter, he got really good at cooking and really good at ping pong. Because that's all they did in the firehouse.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
That's so great.
Yeah.
But you know what? When the shit hits the fan, I'll take a New York City fireman or a
100%
Port Authority officer any day of the week.
Oh, I feel much safer with my brother in the house.
Oh,
Trust
yeah.
me, he's ready.
Oh, he
times.
wants it.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, this has been great. It's I like I said, I love this show. It's for all the reasons we just went over. This has been so nice getting to know you more, and we really just from everyone at Downtime. Thank you so much for being here.
Wow, thank you. I'm grateful for the opportunity. It's really been nice to chat with everybody.
Yeah.
I'd love to get on the sports show at some point.
Definitely
Yeah.
happening
Any day you want.
Any day.
Let
Literally.
us know when the crew wants to come into Conley. We'll treat you guys. Make sure you have a good time.
Appreciate
thank
it.
you. Yeah,
That's awesome.
Renee's like, yeah, right now.
Yeah.
I'm hungry now.
No, I have
Thanks so
chicken
much.
pot pie in the oven.
She does. Cool.
Thanks so much, Ken.
Thanks,
Nice.
Ken.